Man, I couldn't like this any less. Vanderbilt's pitchers were looking at their watch for every pitch, and then we got clarity on it. They're allowed to use technology in college now, so teams are doing it. And Vanderbilt, all 9 players on the field have the watches and see what the coach is calling before as it's happening. Trev, you tweeted about this. You didn't like it. Jake, you responded, say you didn't like it. I responded, say I didn't like it. I want to clarify something. I really, 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 really don't like the other fielders having the info. I also really, 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 really don't like the coaches having the info. If there was a device that the catcher was hitting numbers on his wristwatch and the pitcher was looking at them on his, I'm not against that. So I'm not 100% against technology to change sign stealing and make it, easier for the catcher and the pitcher to communicate. I'm not 100% for it either, but I'm not against it. But I hate that the coaches have it and that the fielders have it because they're turning baseball into out of the park baseball. Like more and more and more, they're taking the athleticism and the brain out of the athlete and just like using them as pawns. It's so different than non-American sports where the coach can't even do anything during the game. Like, tennis is an individual sport, but even cricket, the coach, he can't do shit. The captain chooses who bowls and who hits and where they're going to field. And I know like netball, my sister played that in Australia. The coach wasn't allowed to say a word during the game. And in America, like our coaches run our sports. This is too much for me. It's way too much. I hate it.
Most of the guys that responded that were former players are all against it. And for a variety of different reasons. I did learn, I asked the question, I said, okay, coach is giving the signs to these guys. All defenders have this watch that tells them which pitch is coming. So now all the defenders can anticipate, for instance, you're on the left side of the infield. So you're playing shortstop or second base, or excuse me, shortstop or third base. And an off-speed pitch is called to a right-handed batter. You're going to take a step over to your right towards the line because the tendency on an off-speed pitch typically is, ground balls to your backhand side. So you do that. Instead of, the old way was the shortstop is looking into the catcher's signs, reads it, gives a little to the third baseman. You have to relay this, but you have to do it soft enough where the third base coach doesn't hear you, so he can't relay it, or the runner on second base doesn't hear you, so he doesn't take off to third because he knows the pitch is coming, he might be in the dirt. There's all these things, the game within the game, and we're losing that. And so that's a big thing for me and for all ball players. I think that's a separator usually, and now we're just trying to get everyone, kind of on the same page. I did ask what happens if you shake off. Can you shake off because it's not foreign that, a college coach would call a game. I feel like that happens more often than not. The college coach is calling the pitches, which I also don't like, but I understand like a lot of it has to do with them having to win these games to keep their jobs. That's what I heard from a couple of different people that work in the industry. Like it's very much a win-loss thing that they need to do. It's not a development thing. They need to win games to keep their job. So they want it in their hands. But there is a system in play. I guess it's like a swipe thing. So if he calls a pitch and they don't like it, he shakes it off, and one swipe moves to the next pitch, one swipe up moves to the next pitch. It's one of those things. I said in my tweet, I'm okay with tech and pregame and getting ready and training and all that, but wearable tech for me on the field is just like an absolute no-go because of all the reasons you said too, James. We're taking the athlete out of the game, essentially.
Yeah. I'm fine with catcher and pitcher having something, if that's what it comes down to. It just should be like a little vibrate thing or whatever. And I get that coaches call the game. I think that was was that a Bregman tweet at one point? Like, let college catchers call games. Was he a catcher in college and he tweeted that? Or some catcher like rallied against that. He's like, how is anyone going to learn to call a game if you don't let them call in college? But I guess the coaches don't want to get fired.
Yeah, a lot of catchers weighed in on that and said the same thing. How are you supposed to learn the game?
It's
It's tough.
It's a classic American trait. We take things too far. I mean, look around at pretty much anything, whether baseball, Tiger King, whatever it may be for you. Coaches or anyone, look at the Astros scandal. Their whole thing was, and that one guy is, how do we increase on the margins? How do we push things as far as we can go? And that's where we're at. And I really didn't want this opinion because I think it's kind of easy and it's generic and, something new, I don't like it. And so I was like, you know what? Let me actually think about this. Is this going to lead to better action? Is this going to lead to better baseball? And it's all around no.